Andreas, thanks very much for sparing us some time here at SNEC.
Thank you.
I guess the big news for you at this show isn't a new paste, but rather a new facility, and that being a new R&D centre. What were the drivers behind that?
Well, the first, of course, is a commitment to the Chinese market. China market, in terms of cell production, is 60% or close to it from worldwide. We did last year ribbon cutting for front-side production of metallization paste in China, and that went very well and well received by customers, because they simply said, well, we cannot forecast so clearly our demands. There are always surprises in this market. What do we do if we want suddenly more paste than we anticipated? With a local production, we can serve them within 2 days. They appreciate that very much. At the same time, they say, but how about if I want to have a little modification in my pastes? You don't have the scientific people here, so you tell me I have to wait a response from US, where our main R&D headquarters is so far. That made us thinking. The other thing which made us thinking is that the industry or the business model is changing. So far we were year over year improving the paste, and it was a paste for everybody. And we're improving the cell efficiency 0.1, 0.2% every year, simply out of the paste. To do the next steps now, we have optimized so much the paste itself. The next optimization comes from super adaptation and fine-tuning from the paste to customer processes. So today it looks different. Not one paste for all, but every big customer has their own paste, or at least a last modification. And to have this process well running, you have to be on the place. You have to even talk to them in Chinese and interact and interfere well to understand what needs to be improved. So we need scientific people on the spot here to make that happen. And we started already some weeks ago. We have the first R&D people on board, and it's well received by the customers again.
What kind of investment commitment have you had to make?
Well, the R&D people we want to have should be experienced people. We have no time to hire somebody from high school, maybe on a cheap salary, and then educate them. So we need very educated people, and we need them in the greater Shanghai area. And then it's not that cheap anymore. Salaries are relatively high, especially for experts. So our idea is to have we have something like 20 big customers in China, and a very simple mathematics tells you 1 person per customer is the right thing to do. So we're talking about 20 to 30 people. And salaries are not that low anymore, so it's an investment on salaries and on people, on education and their setting. At the same time, laboratory. Yes, we have a laboratory already, but we have probably to double the capability. A laboratory for us means we have to have a printing line, we have to have a furnace to burn fingers in to really simulate what's happening. And that costs a little bit. It's not like the giant investment, but it is quite some.
You're hoping to provide shorter cycle times on those sample pastes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's happening today is basically we give the fundamental original sample to them, and if they find it good, and then they say, well, efficiency is good, adhesion is a bit low, maybe you can improve that, viscosity is a little bit low, can you improve that? Then they expect 2 days, 3 days reaction time, which honestly we don't have today. We have much longer than that. But by having an R&D person here, maybe even on the site, and then go back to his lab, mixing the paste, testing it, and immediately bringing it back, we can make 2-3 days happening for such smaller modification and speed up this process a lot.
And I'm guessing as well that it gives you a much quicker insight, into this, rather than it having to be transferred artificially, so to speak, from one country to another.
Absolutely, and for us it's also a door opener to get even deeper inside the processes. It's not like to spy out secrets from our customers, but it's so necessary that you understand how is their diffusion process, how homogeneous, heterogeneous their emitter is, and how they print, which material they use, which screens. There is hesitance if you don't bring value to them. that they let you know that, because you appear as a waste of time. So you have to come with very competent engineers so that they say, oh, that's time well spent, we open our doors. So it's a benefit for both the customer, but definitely also for us.
This is like the next evolution because of PERC, you know, and also the use of mono, N-types.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing this, it's almost about recipe management.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you know, how do you cope with that when we're not just simply talking about a standard backside filled cell anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely there are paste-specific paste, that's very clear. The PERC has different requirements. We have 3-4 different products for PERC which are very successful in the market. First, we worked with universities like the University of Hamelin, and we presented world record of 21.4% recently with Hamelin. But honestly, that's lab style. I would say in a good production line, we reach an average of 20.5% together with our customers. And I see ourselves leader in all the predominant PERC players. Honestly, PERC is not that much yet happening here in mainland China. It's happening very much in Taiwan. It's happening very much among European players which are produced in Southeast Asia or US and so on. And there we are in a very close cooperation. Again, we have 3-4 standard products, let's say, but then again it comes to the last ultimate modification to look at their production process to adjust that to their needs.
Well, yeah, talking of customer needs, a product that is yet to be officially launched is a lead-free paste.
Yes.
What can you give us on that?
The lead-free paste came up by competitors who thought, well, we have a difficult patent situation in the market with certain patents targeting a combination of lead and tellurium. Why don't we take the lead out, and then, by the way, as a side move, as a side advantage, we have an environmental nicer paste, a nicer product. So some of them came up with that, and there are some regions, especially Taiwan, which are pretty nervous about IP due to the late accusation of DuPont against NSP and Samsung and SunEdison. So they are so nervous that they say, let's go for lead-free, and it's nearly unanimous that they go this way. Lucky for us, we have developed a lot of lead-free pastes already in the drawer, and we are launching that now. And launching for us always means work with 10 key customers first, let them try it out, and that's the phase we are in now. And then we have that for a brighter scope of customers, probably in June, July timeframe. So we have excellent results with that. We have probably seen some improvements with our paste, which the early paste in lead-free from the competitors don't have. So we feel very confident about that. And it's something you cannot plan. If you would have asked me the question 1 year ago, hey Andreas, what do you think about lead-free? I would say, you know, lead-free always brings you down in performance versus lead-containing paste. Now this problem seems to be solved. So, and that shows pretty much how dynamic even paste business is. So the chemistry scientists found formulas which now address the low performance out of lead-free and compensate that. So today a lead-free paste has even potentially more performance than a lead-containing. That's very new.
Okay, some people thought moving to a lead-free would avoid any sort of standing patent, patent IP out there, but that doesn't seem to be the case because everyone's now up in arms, so to speak, about potentially the IP that you've acquired related to some fundamental patents on lead-free. What's going on there?
Yes, absolutely. When we acquired the patents we have acquired from a Japanese partner, then it was not predictable that lead-free becomes so prominent role. So it was more on protecting with additional protection our products containing lead and tellurium. So now lead-free becoming very prominent. So the IP we hold there seems to be very powerful also for lead-free pastes, and that made nervous some customers and some competitors. So there are a lot of press releases in the recent weeks about this. The patents we acquired are pretty prior art, so they are applied 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Many of them have been granted. It was granted in Taiwan, China, Japan. So we are in a pretty solid position there, and we have researched prior art to that. We don't find anything, and we have researched very intensively. So there are press releases like, oh, we make that invalid. But invalidity claims can only be proven when you find prior art. But in this case, we are pretty confident that that cannot be found. So we have a solid position. But basically, let me add, the strategy we run here is not to create confusion in the market or too much noise. We want to protect our customers and make them feel safe, and that's the main thing we want to do. Right?
But one final question for you. Where do you feel a driver for you is this year, you know, from a volume perspective? Are you seeing, you know, it on a regional basis, or perhaps a push from a particular technology basis?
Well, if you ask me for pure volume drivers, then it's not the one region which is now booming, but it's the addition of it all. So we have a kind of high volume in many regions at the same time. So Japan is going less down than we anticipated. It stays pretty stable on a high level, while US is still a very good market and increasing further. Europe is okay. It could be always more, but it's okay. It's not like shutting down. And then, of course, China is now very stable. By the way, China is balanced out this year more than last year. Last year we had a situation, first half year nothing happened, and then we kind of catched up the last half of the year. This year is more balanced. So we see good and strong demand, solid demand in many areas. The hope country, India, is finally coming up. That's good. It's probably limited to 1 gigawatt this year, which is not making the whole worldwide market. But it's good to see an increase there and a fast development, also with local cell manufacturers, which is a very good thing.
Well, Andreas, thank you very much.
I thank you. Very welcome.